Hey everyone. So I'm so sorry I'm not going to be in class today, but you are in good hands with Senorita Hannah. Today we're going to be making Cubist portraits inspired by the artist Pablo Picasso, who was a Spanish artist. So Senorita Hannah knows some information about him that she will share with you. One thing that's interesting about Pablo Picasso is he started out drawing realistically, and then he developed this style of artwork called Cubism. And he actually wasn't the only artist that started it, but he is one of the founders of Cubism. And the interesting thing about Cubism is it's a kind of art that makes things look fragmented or broken up. And actually it got its name Cubism because a lot of the shapes in the paintings and the drawings are cube-like, okay? But not all of them. So we're gonna be doing this project and we're gonna be doing it with a China marker. And if you've never used a China marker before, they're pretty neat. It's almost like a cross between a crayon and an oil pastel. So what you'll find is that the China marker has a lot of wax in it, but it also has just a smidgen of oil in it, which gives it kind of a unique texture when you're drawing with it. You can shade with a China marker, you can hatch, cross hatch, stipple, scumble, all sorts of techniques, which I'll just quickly kind of show you in this video. I'm also going to show you how to peel the China marker, and then Senorita Hannah and I are going to show you our examples of our Cubist portraits. One more thing that I forgot to say about Cubism is when you're doing a portrait, which is a face, the neat thing about Cubism is that you not only see the front of the face, but a lot of times you'll see the side of the face at the same time. So we'll show you that in our examples, is that you're going to see some frontal features of the face, but also some profile features of the face. Okay, China marker. Here we go. I'm gonna move the camera down so you can see what I'm doing. Okay, all right, so with the China marker, you can shade just like you would with a pencil, and I know some of you guys really enjoy shading. And so if you're going to go from dark to light, like in a kind of a gradient or an ombre, you're just gonna press harder and go over it more, and then you're going to slowly ease up on the pressure and not go over it quite as much, okay? And if you wanna kind of create a smoother transition, you can go back in and do another little layer, okay? So if you want, you can maybe practice that on a piece of sketch paper if you wanna use any shading in your piece. Also, you can do things like hatching, which is what that is. You can do things like cross hatching, which is basically hatching vertically and then hatching horizontally to create a cross hatch, okay? And you can do this multiple times, even diagonally. Stippling, okay? That's creating an image out of dots, or just using the technique within your image, okay, of creating these little dots. Scumbling, okay, which is when you're working in a circular motion. You're not scribbling, you're working in a circular motion, okay? So those are just some of the techniques that you could try out with your China marker when you're working on your Cubist portrait. Real quick before I show you our examples, I want to show you how to get more of the quote-unquote lead of the China marker when it gets down to the paper, okay? So what you're gonna do, and this is very important, these China markers are not cheap, so I really don't want you to kind of mess around with pulling the string too far. All you're gonna do is just pull it like maybe about a ½ inch, okay? And then you take it and you peel it, just like this. Okay, And now I've got more of the lead of the China marker ready to go, ready to draw with. Okay, so that is how you do that. All right, I'm gonna show you my example. So, do you remember how I was saying in the beginning of the video that one thing that's very common for Cubist portraits is that you can see the profile and the front of the face at the same time? So one thing I want you to notice is that you can see the profile of the nose from one side, but then you can also see the profile of the lips from the opposite side, okay? And then if you look at a profile of a face, which is basically the side of a face, you can usually only see one eye, okay? But I chose to make it, because it's a Cubist portrait, where you can see the front of the eyes, both eyes, but then also the profile of the nose from one direction and the profile from the lips from another direction. These are all things that are typical of Cubist portraits, okay? If you want, you can also, if you have time, you can go back in and add some color with marker. I chose to only do my background with color because I wanted contrast between the black and white face and the colored background. And I chose to do an outlining technique with multiple colors to kind of frame the face so that the face truly is the focal point, okay? And the focal point is where your eyes go in the piece. All right, so there's some information about my piece. Now, Señorita Hannah is going to talk about her piece.
Hola a todos, buenos días. Este es mi retrato inspirado por un hecho de arte por Pablo Picasso hace muchos años. Tengo muchos colores fríos y calorosos, como los rojos y naranjas, pero los fríos son azules y verdes. ¿Y qué más? ¿Morado? Is purple a cold color?
Yeah.
Yes. En contraste, usemos I'm trying to think of the art term.
Different
Sí,
styles?
sí. Estilos muy diferentes.
So,
Pero I don't know the name of what they're called.
okay. Well, I think what's kind of cool about this, and I'm not sure exactly what you're trying to say.
They just mine's like has a lot more going on.
But I guess what I think maybe you're trying to say, and I'm not positive, is even though we both used the style of Cubism, because we're both different people with different personalities, they turned out very different. And that is the beauty of art, is it's a way to express yourself, and you can see our personalities and how we create artwork differently just by looking at these pieces. Okay, and so I expect that your work will all turn out differently and that no one's will look the same.
Sí.
All
Lo
right.
que dijo ella.
All
Gracias.
right.
All right.
Happy art making.
All right.